Most people think evil is something distant, something that exists in horror movies, crime documentaries, or stories about dictators and criminals. But the truth? Evil walks among us every single day, disguised as ordinary people. It's in your workplace, your social circle, maybe even your own family. Evil doesn't always announce itself with violence or aggression. Sometimes, it's the smiling face that hides a knife behind its back. The person who shakes your hand while plotting your downfall. The friend who seems supportive but secretly enjoys watching you fail. Here's how you know when you're dealing with someone truly evil. Pay attention, because missing these signs could cost you more than just your peace of mind. 1. They twist reality and make you question yourself. Ever had a conversation where you walked away feeling completely confused, questioning your own memories, your own actions, even your own sanity? Was it really a misunderstanding? Or were you played like a pawn in someone else's game? This isn't just miscommunication. This is manipulation at its finest. Evil people don't just lie. They rewrite reality itself. They gaslight you, making you doubt what you know to be true. They twist facts, deny things they've said, and make you feel like the problem. Ever been told you're too sensitive or overreacting when you call someone out on their behavior? That's not a coincidence. It's a tactic. Look at history. Dictators have used propaganda to erase their crimes and reshape their image. Stalin literally edited people out of photos to rewrite history. In Hollywood, celebrities with power have covered up scandals for decades, making victims look like liars. And in everyday life, it happens in toxic relationships, at work, even in families. They will tell you they never said something. Even when you remember it word for word, they will deny their actions. Even when you have proof, they will flip the script, making you question yourself so much that eventually you start thinking, maybe they're right, but they aren't. So, how do you fight back? How do you hold on to reality when someone is trying to distort it? The answer isn't just knowing the game. It's knowing how to win. Stay tuned, because in the next video, we'll break down the psychological weapons you can use to dismantle manipulation before it destroys you. 2. They have no empathy, only a mask of it. Most people feel something when they see others in pain. Sadness, concern, maybe even guilt if they were involved. But have you ever met someone who seemed completely unfazed by suffering? Someone who could look at another person's misery and feel absolutely nothing. That's not just coldness. That's something far worse. Evil people don't experience empathy the way normal people do. They don't feel guilt, remorse, or even genuine sadness for others. But here's the truly terrifying part. They know how to fake it. Like skilled actors, they can mimic emotions with unsettling precision. They'll say all the right things, wear the perfect expression, even shed a tear if necessary, and most people fall for it. Think about some of history's most infamous manipulators. Ted Bundy, a man responsible for unspeakable crimes, charmed the world with his charisma and seemingly normal persona. Bernie Madoff, who orchestrated one of the largest financial frauds in history, convinced investors he was their friend while secretly ruining lives. Even in everyday life, you'll find people who use charm and fake empathy to manipulate those around them. Bosses who pretend to care about employees while exploiting them. Partners who act loving in public but are emotionally absent behind closed doors. But there are cracks in the act. Watch what happens when no one is watching. When there's no audience to impress, their mask slips. If someone is suffering and there's nothing for them to gain from pretending to care, they won't. They'll change the subject, look bored, or worse, smirk. Some will even mock pain outright, turning someone else's tragedy into a joke. Have you ever noticed someone laughing at the worst possible moment, as if human suffering was just entertainment? That's not just bad timing. That's a glimpse of who they really are. So how do you spot them before it's too late? The answer lies in the small details, the subtle contradictions, the moments where their mask doesn't quite fit. And in the next video, we'll break down the exact red flags to watch for, so you never fall for their act again. If you're finding this eye-opening, make sure to subscribe. There's a lot more to uncover about the mind games manipulative people play and how you can outsmart them every time. 3. They thrive on chaos and destruction. You ever notice how some people seem to bring drama wherever they go? How no matter the situation, chaos follows them like a shadow? That's not bad luck. That's by design. Evil people don't just live in chaos. They create it. It's their fuel, their playground, their strategy. And the worst part, they make it look like they have nothing to do with it. They turn friends against each other with carefully placed words. Just enough to plant doubt. Just enough to make people question each other. They create problems at work, then swoop in pretending to be the hero solving them. They spread rumors with a concerned expression, play both sides in a conflict, and act innocent when the explosion finally happens. History is full of manipulators who thrived on this. Think of leaders who started wars while pretending to be peacemakers, celebrities who played the victim in public but destroyed lives behind the scenes. Even in everyday life, you've probably met someone like this. The coworker who always has a new issue. The friend who always seems to be in a falling out with someone. The family member who stirs up tension at every gathering. But here's the giveaway. They are always at the center of the destruction. Yet somehow they never take responsibility. Ever notice how they always have a reason why it's someone else's fault? How they always play the victim, even when it's obvious they set the fire themselves. If you've been caught in their web before, you know how exhausting it is. So, how do you stop being their puppet? How do you break free from the chaos they create? In the next video, we'll expose the exact tactics they use and how to turn the game against them. And if you're enjoying this, make sure to subscribe. There's a lot more to uncover. 4. They target the weak, but fear the strong. Evil people don't pick fights with those who can expose them. They don't manipulate those who see through their games. Why would they? That would be like a hunter chasing prey that can outrun them. Instead, they choose their targets carefully. People who are trusting, kind, and forgiving. The ones who will give them chance after chance, no matter how many times they prove unworthy. They prey on empaths, on those who assume the best in others. They seek out people who won't question them too much, who will make excuses for their actions. Because as long as you believe they can change, you'll keep giving them opportunities to manipulate you. And that's exactly what they want. Look at history. Cult leaders didn't recruit skeptics. They targeted lost souls searching for meaning. Serial manipulators in business don't con the experienced. They prey on the hopeful, the ambitious, the ones looking for an opportunity. Even in relationships, toxic people avoid those with strong boundaries, and instead latch on to those who are too compassionate to walk away. But watch what happens when they meet someone who sees through them. They hate being confronted. They despise being exposed. If someone stronger, sharper, or more experienced enters the picture, they do one of two things. They retreat like a coward, or they go on the attack, twisting the truth, playing the victim, and trying to destroy that person's credibility. Ever notice someone acting completely different around certain people? Charming and sweet to some, but defensive, irritated, or even cruel to others? That's a clue. They know exactly who they can fool and who they can't. So, how do you make sure you're never their target? How do you build an aura that repels manipulators before they even try? In the next video, we'll break down the mindset shifts that make you untouchable. 5. They never take responsibility. Ever evil people will set your house on fire and then blame you for not having enough water. And if that excuse doesn't work, they'll claim it wasn't even their fault to begin with. Maybe you built the house wrong. Maybe you left something flammable lying around. Maybe, just maybe, you were asking for it. This is the mind of a manipulator. No matter how much destruction they cause, no matter how undeniable their actions are, they will always twist the story so that they come out looking like the victim. It's not just deflection. It's psychological warfare. Ever notice how certain people can never take responsibility? You'll never hear them say, "I was wrong." You'll never hear them admit, "I shouldn't have done that." Those words are poison to them, because admitting fault means giving up control, and that's the one thing they refuse to do. Instead, they rely on a set of well-rehearsed excuses. "You made me do it. If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have reacted this way. I was just defending myself." You're too sensitive. It's never about what they did. It's about how you supposedly caused it. History is littered with these kinds of people. Political leaders who drive their nations into chaos, then point fingers at the opposition. Criminals who blame society, their upbringing, anything except themselves. Even in personal relationships, toxic people follow the same pattern. They cheat and say it's because you weren't giving them enough attention. They lie and say it's because you wouldn't have understood the truth. They manipulate and say it's because they had no choice. And here's the kicker. If you dare to call them out, they won't just deny it. They'll flip the script. Suddenly you're the aggressor. Suddenly you're being unfair or controlling or abusive. They will cry, they will rage, they will gather sympathy from anyone willing to listen, because in their mind, they are the hero of the story. And you're just the villain, trying to bring them down. But the truth is, they were the villain all along. So, what do you do when you find yourself locked in their game? Do you argue? Do you try to prove your innocence? Number. That's exactly what they want. Because the moment you start defending yourself, you've already lost. They thrive on pulling you into a debate where they control the rules, where logic is twisted, where the goalposts keep moving. The real power move? Recognizing the game before you start playing. Understanding that you don't need to win an argument with a liar. You just need to stop engaging. Because without an audience, their entire act falls apart. And that's something they cannot stand. 6. They never feel true remorse. Have you ever caught someone in a blatant lie, but instead of apologizing, they just shrug it off? Or worse, they double down, twist the facts, and somehow make you feel like the crazy one for even bringing it up. That's not just dishonesty. That's manipulation at its finest. Truly evil people don't feel real guilt. They might pretend to apologize, but their words are as empty as their conscience. No remorse, no accountability, just a carefully crafted performance designed to get you off their back. And once the dust settles, they go right back to doing the same thing. Think about some of history's most notorious frauds. People like Bernie Madoff, who stole billions and shattered countless lives. Even when caught, even when his empire of lies collapsed, did he show genuine regret? Number, he only regretted getting caught. Because to truly feel guilt, you have to care about the harm you've caused. And some people just don't. But you don't have to look at criminals or con artists to see this behavior. It happens in everyday life. The friend who always forgets to pay you back, but somehow has money for everything else. The partner who keeps betraying your trust, but gives a half-hearted sorry just to shut you up. The boss who takes credit for your work, but gaslights you into thinking you're overreacting. Here's the test. Watch how someone reacts when they're wrong. Do they own up to it without excuses? Do they take responsibility and actually change their behavior? Or do they shift the blame, downplay the damage, or somehow make you feel guilty for even bringing it up? Because if someone never admits fault, never truly holds themselves accountable, that's not just a personality flaw. It's a warning sign. And if you ignore it, you might find yourself caught in a web of deception where nothing is ever their fault, and everything is somehow yours. Now that you recognize the signs, what's the next move? First, don't engage. You cannot outthink, out-argue, or outmaneuver someone who has no regard for truth. Evil people don't debate in good faith. They distort, manipulate, and twist reality to keep you off balance. The more you try to prove your point, the deeper you sink into their trap. The best way to win is to not play their game at all. Second, set boundaries. If you can cut them out of your life, do it. If you can't, because they're a coworker, family member, or someone you have to deal with, then limit their influence. Stop explaining yourself. Stop expecting accountability. Stop giving them access to your emotions. They feed off your reactions. The less you give, the weaker they become. Third, trust your instincts. That feeling of exhaustion, anxiety, or confusion around someone, it's not random. It's your mind and body signaling that something is wrong. How many times have you ignored a gut feeling only to regret it later? Stop doubting yourself. Your intuition is sharper than you think. And finally, accept that evil wears many masks. It's not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's disguised as kindness, charm, or even love. It can be a friend, a mentor, a leader, someone you never wanted to believe was capable of harm. But now, you know better. Now you see through the illusion. So the real question is, what will you do with that knowledge? If this opened your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, like it, and spread the message. And if you want more content that cuts through the noise, you know what to do. Subscribe.